All right, welcome back, everyone. It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. What is Filmmaker Mode? All right, so let's dive right into this. All right, just to put it in a nutshell, Filmmaker Mode, it's a TV setting that effectively disables the post-processing, such as motion flow, motion smoothing. What it basically tries to do, it tries to remove all the unnecessary filters that would sacrifice what film director intended for you to see here on this film. For example, here we are with Dunkirk. Christopher Nolan shot this movie in an IMAX camera, 75mm, and also went back to a regular camera that they used to film. So here's what Filmmaker basically does. It removes all of the picture settings that you might mess around with, that you got it all wrong. What it basically does, it removes all the filters. Every single filter, including dynamic contrast, including the color temperature that you might have messed around with. It removes motion flow, any of that stuff that's in there. The Filmmaker Mode will remove that. Will remove all of those filters, because that's what they are. They're filters. And what it's basically going to do, it's going to adjust this movie the way the film director intended. What does that mean? That means the tone of color, it's going to be the way the filmmaker standard it's intended. The motion flow will be removed, so that way you can have this 24 frames per second movie viewed the way it was shot. It was shot in 24 frames per second. It was not shot in 60 frames per second. And on top of that, it's going to adjust high dynamic range the way the studio and the filmmaker and the principle of photography has intended it. So basically what this mode does, it enhances all of those aspects to give you this beautiful picture quality, especially on OLED. When you have OLED, like LG right here, and you are watching this movie, for example, the Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan film, you're gonna have, on top of the OLED and HDR, when you add Filmmaker Mode, you're gonna have the best possible movie experience. It's gonna feel three-dimensional. And even here, when you look at it, it shows. It's difficult for my camera to capture this, but it truly shows. Even here, when you see it through this video. Again, this is something you have to see with your own two eyes to truly appreciate the difference. So what happens if you remove the Filmmaker Mode? Well, I'm going to show you a little example here in a second. You will see just how drastically the movie is going to look out of place. Everything's going to be bright. Everything's going to kind of look washed out. It's not going to look the way it looks right now. So let me go ahead. Let me switch to a standard mode. Here we are on the standard mode, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but everything looks kind of bluish. Everything it's bluish. It doesn't look the way the filmmaker intended it to look. And it's kind of maybe difficult for you to see it through, you can't really see it through this video. You'll just have to trust me that I can see the grain, I can see the blurriness, the temperature is too cold, meaning too blue. It's just, and there's judder, because it's using a motion flow. It's basically, it's using all of the filters. Those filters really don't enhance the movie experience. The Filmmaker Mode enhances that experience. So I'm going to go back to a Filmmaker Mode really quick. And here we are, Filmmaker Mode, and just, in my opinion, just much better, man. Much better. It has that movie feel style to it. Looks cleaner. It doesn't look bluish. It doesn't look too sharp. So everything looks film-like, the way it should be. And that's the benefit of the Filmmaker Mode here. And again, this is something that you guys will have to experience for yourself. The Filmmaker Mode, it's available on other brands coming out later on this year, but LG already has it. And this also adds to the value of this television. Not only is it a fantastic gaming OLED panel, but at the same time, it has all these other features like a Filmmaker Mode that really gives you the value. Remember, I always talk about the value. Well, that's what I mean. This is the value I'm talking about. Look how beautiful the color, tone of temperature, it's presented here on a Filmmaker Mode. Guys, this is something you really have to see for yourself. It doesn't matter how much I try to bring my camera closer to this panel. You cannot see through a camera lens. Even if I was using a red camera, one of those high-end cameras, thousands of dollars, still you would not be able to really see what I'm seeing here. And you'll just have to trust me that the Filmmaker Mode here is truly glorious. Here I brought my camera a little bit closer, kind of to give you some idea here. Look at his helmet and goggles and his jacket. The amount of detail in the color. You can see and differentiate different colors here, even on his jacket. That's the kind of detail. You know why? Because that's what film director Christopher Nolan wants you to see. This is exactly what he wants you to see. That's the whole idea of an artist. An artist wants to share his art. And the only way you can share his art is by you seeing it exactly the way he painted it. And this is exactly the way he painted his movie. Let me try and move the camera a little bit if I can, just like this, slowly, just to kind of give you a little idea. I'm doing my best here. Guys, I'm doing my best here to showcase this, because it's very difficult to do it through a phone camera, even though I'm using an iPhone 11 Pro, but it's still difficult to showcase. What is the Filmmaker Mode? Filmmaker Mode, in a nutshell, is removing the post-processing. It's disabling the post-processing, such as motion smoothing, motion flow, dynamic contrast, all of these filters. You know, these filters that come included: dynamic color, dynamic contrast, wider color, automatic color. It calibrates the picture the way film studios intend the picture of that movie to be. And it disables all of those artifacts. And it's a great feature for individuals who are not familiar on how to calibrate, on how to adjust the picture settings for a movie. You know, for everyday Joe, everyday Mary, so you don't have to worry about it. Hey, let's go watch a movie, babe. All right, you want to watch a movie? Fine, just switch to a Filmmaker Mode and you are pretty much good to go. That's it. It's really that simple. And it looks fantastic. It looks simply fantastic. And here, check this out. Look at this beautiful shot right here that I've taken right here. Pause the image. Let me bring my camera a little bit closer and just kind of to give you some idea. This is why I recommend OLED, because OLED, it's a self-lighting technology that's going to give you the best possible contrast ratio for a movie like this with a 4K resolution, shot in IMAX. And then you include HDMI 2.1, higher bandwidth. Then you include this Filmmaker Mode with Oppo UDP 203 4K player, which I still have. You have built-in Dolby Atmos. Dolby Atmos built in with this television that also has these amazing speakers built inside behind the panel. And they sound really great, man. I wish I could play it for you, but you'll just have to trust me. It's very clean. It's not just loud, but very clean sound. Robust sound. That's the Filmmaker Mode for you guys. This is what I've been trying to tell people. Filmmaker Mode. And this is why I recommend LG. People ask me, oh, because you're doing this because you're affiliated with LG. Well, of course, I'm affiliated with LG. But the reason I accepted the partnership and affiliation with the LG is because LG brand truly gives the best value. Not only do they make an excellent design for their OLED panels, but the amount of features and value, including this magic remote, this beautiful magic remote, it's truly stunning. You get to play your consoles, PlayStation 5, X Series X. You get to play your video games, your PC at a native 120 Hz refresh rate with HDR, HGIG, HDR game mode that gives you the best possible low latency, 13 millisecond response time, G-Sync, FreeSync. The list goes on and on and on and on. And on top of that, you have sound mode. There's different types of sound mode. You got the AI Sound Pro, you got cinema, you got clear voice, you got sports, you got music, you got game. I usually keep it on a AI Sound Pro, which is the best, with the Filmmaker Mode. This is the value that I was talking about, that I was trying to come across for those of you who are still on the fence. Ooh, should I consider paying $1,500 for this television? Look, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but if you ask my advice, this is the best value that you're gonna get for your $1,500. If you can find me a brand that's gonna give you an equal value like LG for $1,500, I'm all eyes, I'm all ears. But I don't think you're gonna find it. Alright guys, well I hope that this video gives you some idea what the Filmmaker Mode is and how beautiful it looks. Again, Filmmaker Mode removes all of those post-processing filters that you don't need. It removes all those filters and it corrects your picture quality on your presets, and it adjusts automatically for a film studio standard, the way the Hollywood and filmmakers intend you to watch that movie, in 24 frames per second, the way it was intended. And I try to do my best here to explain this to you. If you guys want to learn more about the Filmmaker Mode, just go to Google and type in what is a Filmmaker Mode. Also, don't forget to check out my debut of a video review of this C10 48-inch 2020 OLED TV that was gifted to me by LG. So thank you, LG, very much. I'm so much grateful. I will do a bunch of tests on this TV, and I can't wait for you guys to see that video this coming Friday. So please leave a comments down below. Let me know what you think. Okay? And I'll try to do my best to answer those. Take care.